Hi, this is Lay Pastor Mary, and today we're going to talk about Moses leading the children of Israel out of Egypt through the Sinai Peninsula and crossing the Red Sea. This is one of my favorite Bible stories because it's about this huge miracle, and it's about trusting God, and it involves water. So the children of Israel had been slaves in Egypt, and they finally were released, and they took off on foot to get to the promised land. So they took their sheep and their camels and maybe some goats with them. And when you and I go out on a hike or go kayaking or something, we usually take water to drink. We also take some provisions, some food to eat, and we probably also take a map. Well, Moses did not have a map, but Moses had great faith, and he also carried a walking stick, kind of like this. Only his was probably a little taller. Anyway, when they took off out of Egypt over toward the promised land, they did not have a map, and so they didn't take a straight route. Instead of going straight across the Sinai Peninsula, they took the scenic route, down, up, made a loop, and continued on. So without a map, they needed some way to know where to go. And so God sent a pillar of cloud that went in front of these people. There could have been 5,000, there could have been 25,000. So this pillar of a cloud went in front, and Moses could follow that and lead the people. By day and by night, there was a pillar of fire that God sent, so the people would not be afraid, and so they could see the pillar of light and know that pillar of fire and know that God was still with them. So they took off, and Pharaoh and the army, Pharaoh's the king in Egypt, realized, oh my gosh, we have lost all of our slaves, all of our labor. Let's go after them. So remember, Moses and the Israelites are walking. They're on foot. But the king had many horses and many soldiers and many chariots, and the king and the soldiers and the horses all took off after the children of Israel and soon caught up with them and could have overtaken them. But the pillar of fire and the pillar of cloud that God had sent to lead the children of Israel got between the Israelites and the army and bought some time. And everyone was pretty panicked that was following Moses. Moses probably was a little afraid himself, but he prayed to God and said, help us, where do we go? The army is behind us, the Red Sea, the water is in front of us. And God said to Moses, go to the sea and take your staff and raise it above the water, and the water shall part. And that's what Moses did. He walked down to the sea, raised his staff, and here were white caps and all this water, and I don't know if he could see land on the other side or not, but he trusted God. And not only did Moses pray, but he also took action. Sometimes we have to do more than just pray. We have to take on a holy activity. We have to help ourselves sometimes. We pray, and maybe God tells us what to do, like God told Moses, take your staff, put it over the water, and the waters parted. The children of Israel went through the Red Sea on dry ground, and when it came time for Pharaoh and the chariots and the horses and the Egyptians that were following the people, when it came time for them to go through the Red Sea, guess what? God told Moses, raise your staff again, hold it out over the waters, over the dry land, and the water will come back in and it will be a sea again. And that's exactly what Moses did. And unfortunately for Pharaoh and the horses and the army, they didn't get through the Red Sea. Now there's a lot of details to this story that we don't have, but the main thing to know is that when we pray, God answers prayer. And when we listen to God and do what God says, then we have no reason to be afraid. We can pass through any rough waters that we are going through. So remember, God protected Moses and the Israelites, and God will protect you.